Johar, I am Saurabh Chaudhari. Welcome to Adivasi Bharat channel. Today we are going to talk about a young and passionate lady. Her name is Jessica Wawoe. She is from Netherlands. She was working into different fields, but now she is working with an organization called Tribal Wisdom. We are sharing an aspiring conversation between us. Let's find out in her own words.
To have an interest in what makes people different and what unites them. So after my studies in business school in the Netherlands and in London, I did a Master's of Science in Economics, Development Economics. I started working in an international marketing firm, and my role grew very quickly to connect the different countries, different local teams to work together. So ultimately I really developed an organic process where people want to share and to connect with each other, because I believe that knowledge is a very valuable resource, and experience is something that needs to be passed down so that the next person who is facing a similar challenge will be able to step on the experience of the previous people, including in life, the experience of our ancestors, the teachings of our ancestors and our previous generations. So this all led me to start looking broader than just the working world, and now I have a foundation which is called the Tribal Wisdom Foundation, and we are working on first of all a project where we provide an online platform, like a web portal, where people can share their stories and share their teachings if they want to share it to the public audience. They can do so in their own language, they can do so in writing or with video or with photography or sound only, or a combination of all of that. And it's important that the people who share feel like they can benefit from this platform.
So Netherlands is known as a green country. So how it became a green country?
Because it rains a lot. Is that what you mean with green?
Not
or sustainable? Sustainable. I believe there is a lot of awareness in the Netherlands to how we can preserve our resources. I have to admit, it's not all good. The Dutch have their dark side too, and their exploitation of gas, for instance, and the way the harbors are set up. It's not all super green, but there is definitely a strong movement and awareness to minimizing the use of carbon resources, carbon footprint. And more and more so people are starting to learn what they can do at an individual level to be able to contribute to a better environment. Even though we are a small country, we do what we can.
So, what is the condition of tribal people in Netherlands?
So I would say tribal peoples in the Netherlands, you can talk about two different types. The indigenous Dutch population, which the best example to highlight would be the Frisians. The Frisians live in the north of the Netherlands. Now the Netherlands is a tiny, tiny country, but still we have different dialects, different groups of original people, and people who feel they belong to their region and that they have a connection to their land. So that is what I believe defines indigenousness as well. And so in the north, there is a group of people who are called people from Friesland, so they are Frisians, and they have their own acknowledged language. They too are seeing a revival of their traditional customs and especially preservation of their language. Because, as we all know, language is a huge factor in continuing your culture. And so they do that well there, and they're recognized and acknowledged. So I would say there is not a lot of risk besides the same globalization influences that are playing a role in the rest of the world for indigenous peoples, which is that people leave their land and might lose touch with their culture when they are living somewhere else, and they have to kind of integrate into the rest of the country where the Dutch language is obviously spoken. But they have always been bilingual, and so in terms of their opportunities, I would say they are equal.
Okay. So, how will you distinguish between tribal of India and other countries?
It's interesting because the distinguishing between the tribes of India and the tribal of India and the rest of the world, India has a very complex structure. There are religious structures, there are caste legacy. There is a lot that I am learning about now. And so that kind of complexity I have not seen yet in most other countries. What is striking, however, is the commonalities that I see. And it's beautiful that those common values that refer to being in balance and being a part of nature, respecting nature and Mother Earth, respecting each other, feeling like you belong and you have a community. I believe that those are definitely more similarities. And I'd like to point out that the connection to the land is often what the core indigenousness seems to express.
What is your message to Indian tribes and rest of the other Indians about environment and nature and sustainability?
Yes. Well, if I may say so, I believe that tribal people hold the key to rebalancing what has been broken on our earth, and to tap into your value system, your beliefs, the way you express joy, dance, prayer, and ceremony. These are all very valuable elements to bring back, to amplify. And I really believe that by bringing your message to the world of how balance can be achieved, because you've done so successfully for many, 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 many years, it's a learning for everybody. So I would encourage you to go back into your roots, be proud of who you are, and speak up about those messages and about those values that many other people have lost and are seeking.